A car repair, medical expense, or job loss can cause you to need money very, very quickly. When the unexpected happens, you need to know where you can actually get money very quickly. Vincent Chan here from The Simple Dollar, and we're going over the quickest ways that you can borrow money. And make sure you smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell if you want more videos on money and personal finance from The Simple Dollar. And as always, you can always check out the video description down below for more details and more information on the content that we're going to be talking about. So a couple ways that you can get money very quickly is 1, getting a cash advance on your credit card. 2 is applying for an online personal loan. 3 is getting a cash advance from your bank or credit union. 4 is borrowing from your HELOC. 5 is borrowing from your friends or family members. 6 is actually borrowing from your retirement account. And number 7 is payday loans or no credit check loans. And we're actually going to be talking about why this should be a very last resort. So make sure you stay until the very end of the video. And before we dive into each of the topics that we just described, we here at The Simple Dollar actually identified a couple of quick funding loan options that are really helpful depending on your particular profile. For example, One Main Financial is really helpful when it comes to emergencies. TD Bank is really good for next day funding. Rise Credit is really good for people who need to borrow money but they have bad credit. And finally, Lightstream is really good for people who need to borrow money but also have really good credit. Now, I know we very quickly just went over some of these loaning options, so definitely check out the video description down below or check out thesimpledollar.com for more details about these kind of financial institutions, such as what their rates are, what their terms are, as well as more reasons we believe that these are some really helpful options depending on your own profile. Now let's actually get into how you can borrow money very quickly. The first option that we talked about was actually getting a cash advance from your credit card. And credit cards are really helpful when you need money in a pinch and you are in an emergent situation and you need to very quickly just use your credit card to pay for something. But let's say you actually need some physical cash. And a lot of credit card companies offer the opportunity for you to do this thing called a cash advance, meaning you can actually withdraw cash from a credit card via ATM or via a retail branch. However, getting a cash advance from a credit card shouldn't be your first option because there are some high fees and high interest rates involved if you go this route. However, in comparison with a payday loan, this would be a better option. Another way to get cash really quickly is to apply for an online personal loan. A lot of lenders actually let you apply for an application online, and if you are approved, then you can actually get your money within 24 hours. However, before you actually apply for a personal online loan, you definitely want to check out your credit history and your credit score to understand whether or not you would get favorable rates and terms with this lender. Moreover, before you actually execute with this online personal loan, there are a couple of things you do want to take into account and try to understand. What is the interest rates? What is the repayment term? And ultimately, what is the total cost of taking out this loan? Meaning, how much do you have to pay back, including interest rates and additional fees? In fact, a lot of lenders allow you to check out the rates before they actually do a hard pull with your credit. The next option is to get a cash advance from your bank or credit union. And in fact, some banks or credit unions do offer this thing called an express personal loan, meaning they do let you borrow money when you need it with a lower interest rate than, let's say, a cash advance with a credit card or with a payday loan. Some of these banks and credit unions have shorter repayment terms, meaning that you might have to pay back this loan on your next payday or even in a couple of months. So you definitely want to take this into account when you're asking for this loan and making sure that you can budget that amount to pay them back. The next option is taking money from your HELOC, otherwise known as the home equity line of credit. And this is a really great option for you, especially if you need an influx of capital relatively quickly, as well as with lower interest rates. Getting money through a HELOC or home equity line of credit is a great option for you for an inexpensive way to actually get money very quickly. However, there are some federal guidelines that you have to meet in order to actually get access to your home equity line of credit. So definitely check out the federal guidelines. You can check this out at the video description down below or checking out thesimpledollar.com on this topic. The next option to get cash quickly is, of course, borrowing money from a friend or family member. And this is actually a really good option, especially if 1, you either have a bad credit score, or 2, you don't want to pay all the expensive and costly fees that are involved with borrowing money from from, let's say, a financial institution. To make this process simpler, especially since you know the person, you want to do two things. The first one is that you want to make sure that you can show proof that you are able to pay back the money for this loan. And number two is you want to make sure that you and the other person that you're borrowing money from, you both agree to terms of repayment and you are both on the same page about this. The next option is to borrow money from your retirement account. In fact, some retirement accounts allow you to borrow money depending on your hardship or your emergency situation. However, if you're not able to pay the money back to your own retirement account, then you are subject to paying for some fees and taxes. You should definitely contact your broker before you actually start borrowing money from your retirement account, because different retirement accounts have different definitions of what is considered an emergency and what is considered a hardship. And you want to understand what are the terms and conditions to actually borrow this money and analyze that before deciding whether or not it's a good idea for you. And before we dive into one of our last resort money borrowing options, such as a payday loan or a no credit loan, make sure you smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you're always up to date with the latest and greatest content from the Simple Dollar. The reason we emphasize that payday loans and no credit loans should be your last option is because of the unfavorable terms and conditions that come with it. For example, a payday loan could charge an interest rate of, let's say, 400% of the amount of money that you're borrowing, and you have to actually pay that back within, let's say, a month to 2 months max. And once you're actually looped into a payday loan and given these terms and conditions, it might be very challenging for you to actually get out of this loop. However, it is a good option or a good last resort option if you really need to borrow money very quickly and you run out of options. However, you do want to take into account that this is a very expensive way to borrow cash. And before you actually sign up for a payday loan, we highly stress that you want to make sure that you exhausted all your other options that we actually went over in this video. And as a thank you for staying until the end of the video, we're actually going to go over a couple of key tips that we at the Simple Dollar find very helpful to avoid ever falling into some of these emergency cash situations. Setting money aside now can ensure that you have funds readily available when you do encounter an emergency. A simple way to do that is to analyze your budget and your expenses and see if you have any wiggle rooms to either pay a less expensive plan, such as switching over to a prepaid cell phone plan, seeing if you could downgrade your cable bill, or reducing your internet speed and ultimately pay a lower bill. And in fact, any little bit amount actually helps. For example, if you only save about $10 every week from looking into your expenses and reducing it, this can lead up to hundreds of dollars in savings in a couple of months or even in a year. And once you identify the amount that you're saving, so let's say that $10 every single week, then you should actually treat it as an expense and start setting up automatic transfers from, let's say, your checking account into a high yield savings account. So you're pretty much setting it and forgetting it, and ultimately it'll help you out and save you money in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions on this content, make sure to leave us a comment down below and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And remember, if you want more videos on money and personal finance, make sure you smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you're always stayed up to date with the greatest and latest information from us. Anyways, thank you for watching. Vincent Chan signing off.